I think most of us have found that the navigation system in the Volkswagen is pretty limited for navigation, and I'm not finding much better results using cell phone based apps either. So what I've elected to do is install a GPS from Garmin, and I've been using this system for the last 15 years in a lot of different applications, coast to coast, border to border, and have found it a very reliable navigation system. So in order to utilize the Garmin system in this car, I wanted to tap it directly into the fuse box, and I also wanted it to only come on once I activate the ignition. And in the ID.4 you activate the ignition by pressing on the brake. So I had to find a fuse in the fuse panel that only activated when the ignition was on, and it also didn't have anything else important on that circuit. I found that, and I'll show you what it is here in a little bit. The other thing to bear in mind is the connection is still a 12-volt receptacle, and it's important to have this square block available to viewing the sky. And so what I've ended up doing is putting that behind the infotainment system, and it has a good clear view of the sky. We've got power cords running along behind the driver's display and over to the navigation device. And in order to get the power to the fuse box, what I ended up doing was running the wire down the side of the steering column and back through here to get to the fuse box that's related or located below the light switches. To make up a power cable that runs between the fuse box to the GPS, I started off with this cable that was a 12-volt outlet that went to a USB-C receptacle that I had used inside the car on during the console, the center console. But I clipped off this receptor end, separated the wires, the red and the black, and then took the red wire and connected it to this fuse tab for the power side, and then the black side just went to a ground wire, and I'll show you where I ended up placing that ground. So the fuse that you want to use to bring power to the GPS is using number 52 down here to the left and below the steering wheel. Number 52 is this little guy right here. It's vertical, a 20 amp fuse, and it only turns on when you turn on the ignition of the car. And in the ID.4 case, the ignition is turned on when you press the brake once you're seated in the seat. So let me pull this thing out, get my hand in the way here real quick. There you go. And we'll bring over our fuse tap, and it just goes right into that slot and ends up looking just like that. Now that's the power side. In order to get the circuit completed, you have to have a ground, and so the ground is over here on the side of the panel next to the door, and you can see this black wire that runs up to a screw right there, and that completes the circuit and gives us power to the GPS.